What's up, guys? Matocaster here, and today we're back in Car Mechanics Simulator 2021, and I figure we're just gonna go dig around like we always do and see what we can find. We always manage to find a way to bring something cool home, so that's just what we're gonna do today. So let's head to the map and go find us our next project. Well, I found something definitely interesting among all these bucket list cars here. I found a Go Kart with a person sitting on it. I have not done the Go Kart yet, and I think we should make a play on this one. It doesn't have an engine. It doesn't have a whole lot, actually, but it's definitely different. I think we should go for it, and we have won it for 4,759 credits. This must be a valuable go kart. I wasn't gonna let that thing go, so we're gonna send it over to the garage and get to work on our brand new go kart, or should I say, our old beaten down go kart. I believe it has been delivered. It is outside, and indeed it is. This is it in all of its glory. Oh, we shall have fun with this one. Give the thing and the person riding it a little wash here and see it is black underneath. Yeah, it was quite dirty. Back to the garage it goes. So I think there's going to be a lot of little hilarious aspects to this one here, because look at it on the lift and the person's still just there. This is a fun mod. This is just a fun one released by Pain. It is a Patreon exclusive, so that's nice when you can support your modders and they give you little Easter eggs like this. This is pretty cool. Now, don't mind me. I'm just going to go under here and take a look. Not really a whole lot to see here. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the person. There we go. Now we're down to the go-kart itself. A little less awkward. Time to build out this little engine. This particular mod uses the i3 engine to make it fit onto the go-kart. I think that's the smallest engine. I believe that is the smallest engine, maybe outside of the rotary, that is in the Car Mechanics Simulator 2021. So yeah, we're just gonna, it shouldn't take long, I wouldn't think. We just got a tiny little 3-cylinder here. So we're going for our third piston here, and I went with all upgraded parts. There was some stuff that I did go through and upgrade to like 2-3 star as well. Just used up all my scrap points for that, because if we're gonna throw a bunch of horsepower at this little go-kart, let's go, might as well go with everything we can. And yeah, I only used as much as I had left over as far as scrap points go. So that's another thing I think I'm gonna need to really focus on, is upping up here the scrap points that I get. I don't feel like it's going to make a huge difference on this engine, just because of our power to weight ratio. There we go. It's going to be through the roof on this thing, I can only imagine. So we get the head bolted down, performance head, as well as our performance cams 1 and 2. And we can do our cam gears here, there, and there. Now I went with the turbocharged version because why not? Let's send it. Go for it. Intake manifold performance, as well as the turbo's performance as well. This is going to be probably pretty ridiculous. I'm going to go ahead and put all these camshaft caps on, as well as our spark plugs. You don't have to sit through each and every one of those. I will speed it up for you. And there goes our third performance spark plug, as well as our performance ignition coils. 1, 2, and 3, and we should be able to do our fuel rail, I believe, next. Yep, fuel rail, there it is. And let's go with the throttle here, the throttle body. Again, everything performance I grabbed. We can do a serpentine belt here, our water pump here, and it makes me wonder, can we get to the thermostat? Because I believe that, oh yes, we can, easy enough. I was hoping that I didn't get to a point where I built myself into a corner and wouldn't be able to get to that. Alternator, performance, and upgraded, I believe it was. Idler roller A. We've only got 3 of them on this little engine. Here's the second one. Then we can do our timing cover. Yeah, this thing's coming together so fast. There's just not a whole lot to it. And then our crankshaft pulley here. Get that bolted in. Another idler roller there. Should be able to do, yep, our belt here. And we should have our tensioner right there. Up here on the top of the engine, let's go with our engine head cover. All bolted down, and guys, I believe that's it. Oh, we can't forget our fuel filter right there. And might as well, let's just throw on our flywheel. Yeah. Not a lot to it, but Don't need a lot for this little thing. Now time to turn our attention to the go-kart itself. Let's start pulling apart the suspension here. And we've got one stuck bolt. That's to be expected. This thing's not in horrible shape. It's just not complete. Get the brake pads. This would be fun, a little disc brake go-kart like this. Get our wheel hub cap. Shifter carts. I've had fun with those. If any of you guys have driven shifter carts, those are a blast. Get these out of here. That'd be a fun project to do in real life. I've thought about it multiple times just to rip around on. Get this bolt off of there. We can do our shock assembly there. Upper suspension arm. Now, I don't know enough about high performance go-karts to know how much of this stuff is actually on one of them. I mean, I've ridden a few, but I've never really took them in and studied them, nor have I ever really worked on any. But there's a lot of guys that take this stuff very seriously, especially the racing carts and things like that. What am I missing here? That's only accessible from underneath the cart. Okay, that makes sense. Get that thing up, floating magically in the air as it is. There we go. Now we can pull all of this apart and get that steering knuckle out of the way. Let's move on to the rear. See what we have left here. We've got the brake disc. Solid drive axle there. Not a whole lot here. And get rid of the wheel hub. And now we can get rid of the knuckle housing. All right, that's that torn down. I'll tear down the other side, guys. Thinking about it now, I suppose it would make the most sense to pull all this apart, repair or replace what I need, and then salvage what I don't to get the most out of the salvage points. Yeah, didn't really think about that, but oh well. We got a nice built engine over there, ready to go. You can pull apart the body here, front bumper, left fender here. And what else do we have? I don't think we have much else really in terms of anything else. So what we can do from here is go ahead and use the welder and get that thing, because there's a few little areas. This is really going to help out with that. Use equipment. Yes. A few little areas that it's just going to get straightened up and looking much better already. Go ahead and grab our engine and throw it into the go-kart. There we go. Install. Looking here, I got ahead of myself. We can only use the i3 dual overhead cam. So let's go back, take that turbo off, put things back together now that we know that, yeah, probably should have checked that beforehand. And here we go, just our regular exhaust manifold, but it is performance. Guess there wasn't room for the turbo, which is totally fine. No big deal. This will still work. Get our performance fuel filter back on there, as well as our flywheel, and try this again, shall we? Moment of truth here. Let's try to install our engine. That's the one. And it's in. All right. That was really just my fault, not paying attention that it was the i3 dual overhead cam it was calling for. Just repairing some of the parts from our whole suspension setup, and what I can't repair, I shall replace. Kind of surprised these little guys even fit on my tire changer here. Got a little bit of an issue here, and Payne had actually mentioned it in the notes of the mod that buying tires can be tricky for this thing. So I'm just going with the smallest I absolutely can. Can't go any smaller than 12. And profile can't go any smaller than 60. So we'll see how this turns out. It might look cool. It might look weird. It's still pretty small. I think it'll work. It should work. It'll give it a nice rake at least. Time to build out our front end. We got our steering rack, our front sway bar. Then we can do our front steering knuckle. Should come together pretty quick, I would imagine. There's not a whole lot to it. I did keep the original 8-inch wheels and tires for the front, so the cart's probably not going to end up being 100% because those were used, and I didn't want to use the 12 inches all the way around. I figured I'd just do the 12 inches in the rear and the 8 inches in the front. I think it'll look all right. I think it'll look good. Front axle knuckle cover there. Got our in length there. Flip around here and start working on our inner tie rod. Install our outer tie rod. On it goes. Front wheel hub. Tighten down. Get our bearing. There it is. Installed. Brake disc. We can go with a brake pad here. Brake caliper. On it goes. And I believe, oh, we got to, of course we got to have our cap there to protect that bearing. I believe we're good here to move on to the back. Install our rear axle housing there. Axle housing C, and then the cover for that, as well as the rear axle. Get our brake disc on here. Yeah, and I didn't mill my my brake discs down. Brain fart. Let's go with that. And that's that rear end. That's the rear end. Not a whole lot to it. I'll go ahead and knock out the other side. This side is completed. Now let's move on to, let's say, get the battery in here. Get our radiator here. Accessible from the engine bay, so we'll grab that here in a moment. Get our front exhaust section there, as well as our fuel tank. And I need to grab a performance fuel pump for that as well. Go ahead and add a performance version of the front exhaust section they have there. And then while we're here, throw in our fuel pump. There it goes. Now we can get to the radiator. On it goes, as well as our coolant reservoir. From here, we can add body stuff like the engine cover here, as well as the exhaust section, the rear bumper, the front right fender there. Get these all nice and new versions of these on here. Get this front section here, as well as our front bumper. Now we can go ahead and throw our awkward person there, sitting there. Go ahead and add the wheels and tires here. We'll go with our 12 inches back here, and then we'll put our 8 inches out front. Here we go with our 8-inch tires, and you got to see this. It's pretty good. Look at that. It definitely has a look to it. That's for sure. Definitely has a look to it. Now, one thing I probably should have paid attention to was maybe finding one of these with all 4 wheels and tires, and I wouldn't have this issue. But again, I actually think I think it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, to be honest with you. It might look a little bit weird, but it's going to be fun no matter what. Get our clutch plate on here, our performance clutch plate, and our performance clutch pressure plate installed, and our clutch release bearing. On it goes, and we're ready for our performance adjustable gearbox. I feel like we're gonna need that. And I suppose now we're ready for our rider. And there we go. Time to put fluids in it and take it to the dyno. I'm very curious on this one. In goes the coolant and the oil. Not a whole lot for interior, just a steering wheel. We have arrived at the dyno, and look how close the little rollers are. That's awesome. Here we go with our dyno test. Factory horsepower is 56. 67 foot-pound of torque. Let's see what we're going to end up making with this and our little performance upgrades. 77 over 91. This is going to be a fun little thing to drive around. Now, I don't hate it as flat black, but let's see. Let's mess with some colors. Oh, there's actually a legit livery for this thing. Oh yeah, we're going with that. That's a really solid livery. That looks good. Moved it outside to have a look. It's definitely different with those big old wheels in the back, but let's drive it. And here we are with our little go-kart at the speed track. I think this thing's gonna be better suited for the racetrack. Look at those wheels and tires in the back. I can't get over it. But I figure, why not? Let's have some fun at the speed track. See what this thing can do. It's definitely sticks to the road. Let's see if we can top this thing out. I think that's about all she's got. But 104 miles per hour on a go-kart, that would feel like you're absolutely flying. Oh, we did grab another gear at 108. I think we're running out of room. Tap the brakes there just a little bit. Oh yeah, brakes were crazy good. Definitely grips. Oh, look at this. Let's do a little e-brake. That is fun. J-turn the thing. And it does. And it grips and goes. I'll give it that. And here we are at the racetrack. Figure I'll do a little onboard. Oh, it definitely grips. You got to be real careful with the, maybe need to turn the steering sensitivity down a little bit because, yeah, it grips like a go-kart would. And there's definitely fun to be had at the racetrack with this thing because you can go into the corners at 100 miles an hour. I say that as I messed up, but I promise. I went into a few corners at 100 miles an hour, and it grips really good. As to be expected. I mean, it's a go-kart. Well, as fun as that was, I think I'd rather have one that has the 8-inch tires all the way around it. So we are going to sell this thing off, but I will keep an eye out for one that has 8-inch tires all the way around, so it doesn't look so interesting like this. But this was still a lot of fun. Car status isn't going to be 100% just because of those 8-inch tires, but I think it's time to pass this thing on, see what kind of profit we made. We surprisingly made $24,474. Let's sell it for $29,233. Except now I'm going to clear out the inventory. There's another $1,800 there. We're now sitting at $710,392, which I'm very excited about because that's, again, opening up a possibility for a lot of cool cars to come through. Guys, that's going to do it for this one. If you made it this far, please consider giving a thumbs up. Hope you liked it if you stayed around for this long. Guys, I truly appreciate it, as always. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.